Welcome aboard. In this episode, we shall be covering socket programming in C++. To catch up with the last episodes of in C++, I was dealing with the database management systems. Type in this URL xom.co.k/C+. It will open a page with the links to show you all compiling, connection, searching, updating, everything. And also, in case you are interested in other programming languages, type in this URL xom.co.k/tutorials. It will open up this webpage, these links. Click on any, it will send you to amazing videos on these languages. Don't forget to leave some comments. You can also subscribe to be getting more videos. Yeah. Let's proceed. To begin, we create new project, but this time it will be console application. Yeah. Next, and here we choose C++, and we start creating we shall start by creating our server. So server.that, and in the main, okay, so the first thing we need is we need to add socket library. Yeah. To do that, you click on the project and you select build options. Yeah. In the linker setting and debug, click on add, then browse. This socket library are located in your dev lib folder. So in your PC, wherever you installed your dev, that's in a lib folder, and you'll search it here. That is this lib ws2 underscore 32.a. Click on it and open, and say no to this, and okay, and okay. So you've successfully added a socket library which you will be using. The next thing we need is to include some libraries. Let's say we'll include our socket headers. So now let's include our console conio.h, and we'll also need to include our standard input output header. Yeah. The next we need to include is our socket headers. That will be winsock2 dot header, and we'll also need to include our Windows header. That's windows.h, and we'll also need to include our streams stream. That's stream. We'll also need to include our string. Shall be using strings. A string. Yep. With that, I think we're done with all includes. Next, we need to define our version of sockets. So that's hash define. That will be, so define our socket version. That will be sock underscore version, and underscore version, and say let this be, that's 0x0202. Yeah. Then we'll be using starter namespace, and we don't need this. In our main method, we will define other variables. So what will be, we define two sockets. First will be connection socket, let's call it consock, and the other one will be our listening socket. So that is listen sock, and yeah, we'll also need address. So we define it as sock sock address, yeah, underscore in, and let's call it address, yeah, semicolon. You also need an integer to check the size of address. Let's call it address size, and say this is equals to size of our address. At the size of our address, that is our address that we just defined here, and semicolon there. Then we'll also need to declare, oh, this is int. We'll also need to declare a variable, let's call it long, and call it okay, and semicolon. Let's also declare the characters. Let's call it message. Sockets, they communicate using characters, so every message you shall be sending or receiving, it has to be in characters. So let's set this to 100 and semicolon. And we also need to declare WSA data. Let's call it WSD. This is a window socket data, WSA data. That's window socket data. And we also need word. That's our word ID. Call it as our, let's call it DLL version. Check out DLL version. Yeah. And this is the word object. This is the data size that the processor can handle. It handles either can be 16 byte or like 2 byte. And we say here our DLL version, and see this is, so let's make worded and set this to 21. So by this we are creating word value by concatenating its segments by this make word. And let's have a okay and assign it some value and say it will be used. Let me just write first, and let's say WSA start, WSA startup, WSA startup, yeah. And let's start our window data and our DLL version. Let's start our DLL version first, and we also start our window socket data. Let's, so that we'll use our password window socket data. So should be into bracket. Semicolon. Okay. Next we need to start creating our socket. The first one will be our connection socket. Let's call it the one we defined, consoc. And say this is, we'll be using TCP, so that will be socket AF underscore inet, comma, and sock is sock stream, sock underscore stream, and comma, and yeah, reason we're doing this because we're using TCP. the reason why you're using sock stream. And our address, let's define our address and our port number. So our address only just defined above. So address dot same underscore add dot s underscore add again, yeah, but small, sorry, underscore add. We say this is equals to, so we'll add our inet, so that is inet underscore add inet underscore add, then we add our address, IP address. So I'll be using this 127.0.0.1. so I'm on a local host, not on another network. In case you are on another network, you can edit this to the IP of that network. And we say the family, so the address asset.sign underscore family, yeah. We say this is the AF inet, yeah. That's AF underscore inet, yeah. That's the family we're using, semicolon. And we also need to set our port number, so that's address, we're binding our port and our sign underscore port, and we set this is equals to, that is host to networks, and that is host to networks, and we got this port number. Let's use 10.102 and semicolon. Sorry, yeah. And we also need now our listening socket, yeah. Set our listening socket, so listen sock, and we said this is equals to, also need this again, semicolon there. And now we'll bind to our listening socket. Listening socket, we'll bind that to our sock addresses. Sock address, to all of these sock address, but use our brackets, so this thing is disturbing and can't view well. Yep. All that, and we'll use our address here, so password address and the size of that address, yeah. So that's size of our address, yeah, semicolon at the end. So we are binding this our listening socket to all socket addresses, but we are using specifically the one we've defined and the size of that address, yeah. Yes, nice. And the other one you need to set to make sure server will listen without limit, so we set it using somaxcon. So listening socket, listen sock, and we set we say somaxcon, yeah. Somaxcon, this will ensure our server will listen without any limit. So let's proceed. after that we need to show a server is ready for connection. We shall print this on our console, cout and say server is waiting for connection. Yeah, that's cool. Say server waiting for connection from the client, that is for connections. Yeah, and let's create some new lines just before after break some lines. And now we need to write everything in our while loop that will ensure our server keeps connection open and keep on receiving and sending messages. So that's if save connection socket is equals if it accepts the listening socket. Listen socket. It accepts that through these SOC addresses and all of this, so asterisks and through our own so address through that address and separated by comma. And size of that address, so the size we defined above there, that is address size, called it address size. This address size we defined above there. Yeah, so it is true, and we need to execute this code. So we need to accept our connection through this accept function, our listening socket, and through the address we defined it, through the addresses of that too. So after that, what the server does should receive message first before it can send its reply. So using our OK, remember this OK we were defining, starting up our DLL version and Windows socket data through this, and we say OK, it should receive the message first, so that is using this function or receive, and say receive, and so we receive using our connected socket, so our consoc, and we receive the message in form of characters, the one we defined there, and the size of that character, size of this character, that's so this message, and we say this now, yeah, and semicolon at the end, and yes. And the next thing is, now we need to convert that to a, remember you receive it in form of characters, but to print it in our console we need to show it, to convert it to a string. So to do that we'll need to define a string here, and call this string, and say let's call it msg, so message and semicolon, and we need to change to convert our characters to string, so that is this message, so we are converting it to string, back to string, so that we can be able to print out that, yeah, and through our cout, and we print that, and we say this is what the client is saying, so semicolon, and say client says, so it should be inside this, client says that we tab that create some space, and we show our message. So using our concatenate to sing this and end line, yeah, end line. So semicolon. The next thing we need now, after receiving message, we need now to send our reply. So someone need to send reply to the client. Let's define that as string reply and tell the server to enter message, yeah, or reply. Tell him to enter reply, yeah. And we tab that to create some space. Enter reply. So after server enters reply, we need to get that reply. So using our cin to read that reply. So reply semicolon. Then we need to send it to the server, to the client, sorry. And to do that, we still need to convert it to characters. Remember, they communicate using characters. So that const character, let's call it s, and say this is our reply. We convert it to our reply. I think I'm doing the same thing. A reply, we convert it to our character. So that's c underscore str, and it's a function, so that ends semicolon. And using our okay, still when we are receiving through is when we shall set this. We set through this function set function, and we say, yeah, it's semicolon. And using our consocket, consoc, yeah, we said that we said our characters here s, and you can say the size, let's say 1024, and we specify, so, and we say null, yeah, a semicolon at the end. And I think we are done on our server side. So save. Next thing we need is now to create our client. So to do that, we need to create our new file and a new project. Still console application and go. Next, and C++, and this time it shall be client. Right, and next, and finish. So open up the main. The first thing we need is also to add our socket library, the same as we did for the server. So through build options, linker settings, and we add the same, and we add, browse it. It is stored in our cdev lib folder, and open it and say no to that, and okay. Now we clean up this. We don't need this. Okay, we need the same. We need to add the same includes. They're using the same, so don't need to type them again. I've already done that. Include the namespace. I think they should be all the same, and just copy paste them to save some time. I need one namespace. And the next thing we need is now to declare in our main method. We need, for the client, we need only one socket. So that's socket, and call it let's call it sock. Yeah, let's call it sock in semicolon. The next thing we need is we also need our sock address again. So our sock address, that, and underscore in, and let's call it address still, to reduce any confusion that might pop up. Address, yeah, and we'll also, they all the same, so you'll need to you'll also need to have these, right? First, before we also need this, yeah, that, okay, and yeah, we need this. So right here we also need the same of this, same variables, that is, and all you need after that is our our while loop. So that's our while true, yeah. while loop, and through that we say sock is equals to our same sock address. So let me just type this, not to be so much lazy in typing. Sock, and that is af underscore inet, that is inet, just put that in semicolon, and sock stream and z add null, yeah, semicolon at the end. And then I'll also, we shall be using this, the same of this, same address, same port. So just copy this and have them here, just below this, yeah. Okay, and right click and format this style, format the code, so that, and sorry, now we need to create connection, yeah, through sorry, through connect function. We shall use this to connect, and that was semicolon at the end, and that will, through our socket here, sock, will connect to our sock address. So all of this sock address, asterisks, and hey, this thing disturbs, and our upper side headed. So our address here still our address, then the size of our address, so size of our address right there. And next thing we need is, so client should initiate conversation, so it should decide that it's message first. So that's through our string, so through our, so let's declare the message that the client should send to our server, and print out and tell the client to enter message, enter message, and semicolon, let's tab that, and semicolon, and that. After typing in the message, we shall read that message through cin and pass it to this string, so that msg, semicolon. And the next thing we need is now to convert it to character. Remember, they communicate through character, so that is const character, that is asterisks, and let's call it s still, and say this is our message. We convert it to string function, and semicolon, yeah, convert it to a character, still the message, and then we'll send it through our okay, through this okay, using it every time, and say okay equals, that is said, and okay, and so through our case, the one we shall set, so through our set function, so that's send, and hey, and say through our socket, using this socket every time, and we send through socket, and we'll send that as, that's our message which we've converted to characters, and size, let's say maximum is that, and 24, and null, and semicolon at the end. Then after that, we also need to now to receive whatever through our case still, receive what the server shall be writing to the client, and use our receive function, semicolon, and say sock underscore, sock comma, we shall receive the message, yeah, through the message still, is in form of characters, that is, because the server shall also send using characters. Then the size of that message, so size of that message and size of that message and null at the end, null and semicolon there. Then we, so the whatever you are receiving here is the reply from the server. So this is our okay, sorry, enter message. So our reply, so this is our reply we are reading from the server, and we say this reply we convert our characters, our character message to string, so it can be printable. So then say we're converting our message, so message is converted to a string here, and the next thing we need to do is just to print to display it. So cout, sorry for caps lock, cout and display the message and see this is what the server is saying. So server says this tab, create some space and we show through this and say reply. So the server shape as said headline. So I think we are pretty much done. So the next thing now you need to do is we need to build this application. So right click and say build, so that it can generate executable files which you'll use to run both of them. Remember, they should run the server first, then you run the client. So after building, when you come to where you created your project, let me scroll mine, wherever you saved them, you should run server first. So click on server, bin, folder, and debug, and you'll get this executable. Double click and it will start running. Server is running now. Then go back to your where the server, your client is, client and bin, folder, debug, and click on client. So it shall pop up enter message. So you need to see them communicating, and so the client should initiate conversation. So let's say enter message and let's just say hi. You see whatever client has said, client says hi. Let's reply and say hi to, you see hi to. So you can keep on chatting now and say, let me say, so say what's up, let's say all good, yeah, or just fine, and bye, let's say just bye and bye. Let's see, so they're running. So always ensure the server is running before the client. You start server first, then client. So thanks guys for watching. See you in the next season.